Okay. Nala, can you start from the point where you said ಒಂದೊಂದ್ ಸಲ ಎಡಿಟರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಸಾರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ?
ಓಕೆ. ಒಂದೊಂದ್ ಸಲ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟೆಲ್ ದ ಎಡಿಟರ್ ಸಾರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಮ್ಮೊಮ್ಮೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಡಿಟರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ we cannot publish this cartoon for whatever this reason, so there is nothing I can do because editor is the boss and he has the final authority on whatever goes into the newspaper. So I would call back and say that yake this then they would explain, this is the reason perhaps, or not explain the reason at all, and I will have to understand that okay, it is not perhaps in the beneficial to the readers or to the or to myself, for example. So I'll have to just say okay. So ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಬಹಳ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ಇವೆ ಅನ್ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಎಡಿಟರ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ನಾನು ಆ ಟೈಮ್ ಎಡಿಟರ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಐ ಕಮ್ ಔಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಬುಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಅನ್ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಡ್ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. So he would laugh and say, go ahead. But newspaper editors are the final authority, so there's nothing I can do. So sometimes my space would be taken over in the newspaper by some news item or an ad or whatever. So
ನಳ, ಈಗ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಒಂದು, ಎಡಿಟರ್ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ಇದು ಕನ್ವೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಆ ತರ ಕಾರಣಗಳಿಗೆ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ನಿಮ್ದೇ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ದಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೊತ್ತಿಂದೆ, ಕೆಲವು ನನಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಎಡಿಟರ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಜನರಿಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಅನ್ಸಿಕೆ ಹಿಂದೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ? Is there a science behind the intuition? That's the question.
ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಮೊದಲು ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಯೋಜಕರಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಸಂದೇಶ.
ಕಥೆಯನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದಲೇ ಆರಂಭಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ, ಅದನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದಲೂ ಆರಂಭಿಸಬಹುದು ಎನ್ನುವುದೇ.
ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವವರು.
ನನ್ನ ಕಥೆಗಳ 3ನೇ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಬಂತು.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಸ್ತರ್ರು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ನಾಗ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಯಾರ ಸರ್.
ಹೇ ಗುರುಸಾಂತ, ಇವತ್ತು ಎಚ್ಚರಾಗಿರು, ಊರ ಗದ್ದಲ ಆಗಬಹುದು.
ಮುಸ್ತಫಾನು ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಬಿಡಿ ಡೇರ್ ಡೆವಿಲ್.
ಪಟೇಲರ ಮಾತುಗಳಷ್ಟೇ ಒಡೆದು ಕೇಳಿಸುವುದು, ಯಾರೂ ತುಟಿಕ್ ಪಿಟಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನುವುದಿಲ್ಲ.
ಕಣ್ಣು ಮಿಟುಕಿಸುವುದರೊಳಗೆ ಮೆರವಣಿಗೆಯ ಮಧ್ಯದಿಂದ ಅಶ್ವ ವರಸಮೇತ ಓಡಿ ಹೋಯಿತು.
ತಾನು ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೋ, ಬಂದು ತಲುಪಿದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೋ.
ಏನೋ ಸಂಗತಿ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ, ಏನಾದ್ರಾಗಲಿ 4-5 ಜನ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋಣ.
ಕತೆ ಹೇಳೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪುಟ್ಟಜ್ಜಿ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಫಸ್ಟ್. ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ನನ್ನ ಕಂಡ್ರೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಅವಳಿಗೆ.
ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಕತೆ ಯಾರ್ದು?
ಅರಳಿಕಟ್ಟೆಯ ಚರ್ಚೆಗೆ ಮರಳಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತ.
I wouldn't call it science. I would call it a sort of a intuition closer than science. Maybe a gut feeling to hear about. I will certain parameters irutte. I cannot touch on pornography. It is not done. I cannot touch on certain other aspects like the flag of India or the national anthem. It is a no-no. It's not done at all. And apart from those basics, there are certain aspects which I feel one is Arthagola. It'll go beyond the heads of many people, which supposedly my cartoons do, because these days some of the readers tell me that tale mele hogutte sir, that sort of a thing. Omome they let me know in many different languages, but I know for a feeling that this is not a cartoon that I can draw and get away with. And I know certain cartoons nanage bada flack sikute anta. And sometimes when I put on the internet one cartoon which is not published anywhere, which just for the fun of it, for my appreciation of my profession, I put it on with my own idea, I get a lot of flack for it. And ಮೊದಲೆಲ್ಲ ಬೈಯುತ್ತಿದ್ರು, abusive, this, that, and all that. So now I have stopped that. So I've included those within the parameters that I won't draw.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಓಕೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಪೋರ್ನೋಗ್ರಫಿ, ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್ ಅಂತಮ್ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ನಿಮ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಇನಫ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ what is the feeling that you have? Andre, can you describe that? Or how do you evaluate your own work? Idu chanagide chanagilla anta.
Okay. In which case nanage ee deadline barthe iga. The point of the deadline comes in. Ee time olage nanu kalisabeku editor ge cartoon newspaper ge kalisabeku illidre avrige problem agutte publish madlikke. So aa samayada olage ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ I'll have to draw. Idea bardidre, it's going to be extremely difficult for me. I can push myself to improve the level. How? By changing the words, changing the composition, keeping the idea in mind, or just tear the idea and go in for something very fresh. Sometimes ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ideas come immediately. And those are the very lucky days for me, or for any cartoonist for that matter, when the idea comes and then you know it is going to be appreciated universally. It is the days when it is not, that my instinct will tell me that, listen, it has to be better. It has to be better. Otherwise, forget it. Just call up the editor and say, don't. But over a period of time, with experience, drawing and the ideas merging together ಸುಲಭವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Otherwise it is not.
One interesting question ನಳ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ನೋ ಹೌ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಲೈಕಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್. 200 shares, 50 shares, ಆ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ, ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ. ಹಳೆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೌ ವಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ? ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಹಾಕುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಕಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಬಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾರೆ ನಳ ಸೂಪರ್ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಗುರು ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮೊದ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು? ಹೌ ವುಡ್ ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆರ್ ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸಿಸಮ್?
It would come only through the staff of the newspapers, by the editor, and he'd say, your cartoon today was very well appreciated, or they had some problems with this cartoon, because that is, I would either feel happy, elated, or dejected, to say that, oh God, Swami, naan yen tapp madibite iga, that sort of a thing. With over a period of time, it lulls. But like you said, how the ego, it is different. You get immediate on the 10, 20, 50, 100 people will appreciate it, or sometimes they'll put a question mark haktare. Sometimes emojis haktare, that sort of a thing. I just have to accept it, because I prefer to keep my interaction with the present day followers of my cartoons on Facebook or wherever as limited as possible, because otherwise matters will get complicated. So
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಹೇಟ್ ಕಾಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಶೋರ್ ಯು ವುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಾಟ್ ದೆಮ್. ಮೊದ್ಲು ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಾನು ಗೊತ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ಮೊದ್ಲಿನ ಹೇಟ್ ಕಾಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮೊದ್ಲಿನ ಆಂಗ್ರಿ ಕಾಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಇವಾಗಿನ ಆಂಗ್ರಿ ಕಾಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೂ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ DNA? ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ ಇಟ್? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಯಂಗರ್ versus now when you're a lot more mature, right? ನಿಮ್ಮ perception of these comments or hate trolls, how do you react to that?
Earlier, when I was younger, ಒಂದು 20-30-40 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ನನಗೆ anger, I've forgotten the Kannada word for anger. ಕೋಪ, ಸಾರಿ, ಹೌದು, ಕೋಪ ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಯಾಕೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಒಮ್ಮೊಮ್ಮೆ ಲೆಟರ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಇನ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲೆಟರ್ಸ್, ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ addressed to me, and the editor would pass it on to me and say this and all that. But at least there it is, I will know that, they will give a reason. So it's okay, understandable. There were times when I would reply or not reply at all. Ega, it is internet banda mele, it's immediate. It doesn't hurt me as much because I myself personally got into internet only very recently. I stayed away from, I got in maybe 5 years ago because my wife, my present wife said that, you have to put your work on the internet. So that's how I got into it. Otherwise, no. One of my particular cartoons went, Ursutti Bantu, adara ನನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಇಂದ ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. They put their own name into it as if somebody else had done the cartoons and posted it, kind of a thing. So nannobba friend England ಇಂದ one English cartoonist ಬರೆದು ಕೇಳಿದ ನನ್ನ ವೈಫ್ ಅನ್ನು, ಇದು ಪನ್ನಪ್ಪನವರ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ವೈಫ್ ಹೇಳಿದ ಹೌದು ಅಂತ. ಅವನು ಹೇಳಿದ, ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರೋ ಹೆಸರು ಹಾಕಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. So that's one particular reason I'm going away, straying from the subject, but just to tell you that I got into internet because of that. But ಒಬ್ಬ ನನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ತೆಗೆದು ಕ್ಯಾಲೆಂಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟ. He made an entire calendar out of my cartoons, and that's pretty upset me very much. And he came to gift me the cartoon. He said, without my permission, how can you do this? Without my permission, how can you do this? Yeah, tell me.
No, one question. It's not directly related to cartooning, but I have to ask you this. ಮೊದ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಗಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಮೊದ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಎಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಇವಾಗ ಹಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಯುವರ್ ಓನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ previous examples that other people have given, there was influence on editors alva, from owners and politicians. Handle ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೆಂಗೆ? Is it any different or is it the same? Just wanted to compare different times ashte.
I think I, as a cartoonist, had much more freedom earlier than now. ಆ ತರದ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ many aspects of life in India, I'm talking of the whole country, have changed. Newspapers are different. The ownership plays far more strength over what is being published, I would think, over my experience over the 40-50 years, than the editors. This change, I think, happened around the 80s, mid-80s or late 80s, 90s. And the other system of TRP, of the newspaper ratings, came up, and there was a lot of fight between newspapers all over India, and that also played a lot of took the freedom of many people away. And the management realized that, okay, the advertising space is far more important than what needs to be read. So the reading space became less. Earlier, we used to have what was called the letters to the editor column. Almost no newspaper has a letters to the editor column. A lot of things have changed, and it was easy for me earlier to draw 3-strip cartoon, which would take a lot of space in a newspaper, like in the Sunday newspapers, Sunday comic pictures. It is not possible to draw such large cartoons. Cartoons have shrunk in size. I'm talking about cartoons only. And advertising has sort of eaten up a lot of more space. If you look at almost any newspaper, most of it is advertising. And most of it, the news is reduced considerably. But basically, that is how newspapers started. Hale kaladalli newspapers in the front page was full of advertising. It was advertising that brought income, and it still does bring income to the newspapers. So in that way, there's nothing wrong in it. So there is a difference, but I really do not wish to comment on the political aspect of it because, I sit at home and do my work, and I do not interact with the goings on in the offices of the owners or the management side. I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, Vasuki me and Vasuki were discussing sometime the other day, and I think that's reflecting as one of his questions. Vasuki, that immediacy question italva ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ ದಿವಸ ಒಂದ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದಿವಸ ಅದನ್ನ ಮರ್ತ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. As a cartoonist, did you find that working in your favor? For example, you could upset Jayalalitha one day, and then the next day maybe somebody else is upset, but Jayalalitha would have forgotten. So is that something that has helped you run away from problems, Nala? That I think was your question, Alva Vasuki.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider running away from a problem really, because I'm not made of that kind of a nature. I will face the problem when it comes to me, because if I know I've done a mistake, I will definitely say it's a mistake that I've done. I'm sorry, because if I look at my cartoon, a cartoon can be looked at in so many different ways. It's not the only way that a cartoonist has thought of and drawn that it needs to be looked at. Sometimes readers point out to me to say that, we like this cartoon for this particular reason, which I never thought of when I was drawing my cartoon, because nanage aa idea barle illa. Looking at it, adannu nododu aa taradalli nododu nanage idea barle illa. Or they say idu ishta agಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ, ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ ನೀವು ಹೀಗೆ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀರಿ, that sort of a thing. A cartoon can be, my cartoons especially are the ones that I like to make people think. It's not necessarily a cartoon that should make people laugh. I think the period of laughing about cartoons is, it's a very basic, simple idea kind of a thing that people can get away with it, especially in a political system. You can draw any cartoon on politics and just make a person laugh. That's not important for me. My work is to make people think. So I like it when people say, "Nanage artha aglilla nimma cartoon. It's a ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ತರ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಯೋಚಿಸಬೇಕು ಇದರ ವಿಷಯ." I say fine, then I'm happy with the work that I've done. But if I've drawn a cartoon on, say, Jayalalitha, I won't forget it. It won't be easy for me. And if I get a letter written to me directly, I will definitely answer it. And whether apologetically or not, if I've made a serious error, then I will apologize, not otherwise. I won't run away from it. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that answers the question. But actually, the idea was that, people forget, alva, ivattagiddu naale marth hogbidtare. I think that some way is a blessing for most of the people who joke on different things, right? Luckily, okay. So that was what I was wanting to make. ನಳ ಯು ಬ್ರೀಫ್ಲಿ ಟಚ್ಡ್ ಅಪಾನ್ ಇಟ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪೇಪರು, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಓದಿ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಕೆಲವು ಹಿಂದೆ.
ಹೌದು.
ಅವಾಗ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾರನೇ ದಿವಸ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬರೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಟಿವಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಜೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬರೋದು. ಈಗ 24/7 ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನೋ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸಮ್ ವೈರಲ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ, ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್, ಟಿವಿ. ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಟು read all of that, consolidate and come with cartoons on a daily basis, right? You do that almost on a daily basis. How do you manage it, the pace, right?
Okay. ಒಮ್ಮೊಮ್ಮೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ideas just flow inside. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they just flow inside, and I quickly note it down in my book, in my rough sketchbook. It could be just the words, or it could be on the chitra, hige immediately. So I keep it. Sometimes I've done 13, 14, 15 cartoons at a time, just that. That gives me, it may not be topical. It could be, there's touch of humor in it. It could be connected with what is happening, but ideas just flow. But it does not happen. It happens ಒಮ್ಮೊಮ್ಮೆ ಒಂದು 3 ವಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಆಗೋದು ಹಾಗೆ. So those gives me a lot of strength to take it easy for the next few days. The only tedious job ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು to put it exact, ನಾನು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. I draw everything on paper. I like Abu had asked me, I still pencil my cartoons most of the time first. If they are complicated compositions, I pencil it out, and ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಲರ್ ಹಾಕಿ, ಇಂಕ್ ಹಾಕಿ, ಫೋಟೋ ತೆಗೆದು ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಮೇಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸೋದು. I don't do anything on the computer. So for the simple reason that ನನಗೆ ಆ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕುದಿಲ್ಲ. I don't get the right colors, I don't get the right, with the natural work I'm comfortable with, ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. So sometimes the ideas ಬರುವಾಗ it is easy for me. It takes the weight off. Some days it is just maybe 2 or 3 cartoons I draw. Some days, so that helps me out at the time. ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ದಿವಸ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾವೇ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ I go into this and pull it out and send that across. So at times ನನ್ನ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ 2-3 ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, which I can use it for emergencies time. It may not be topical, but it doesn't matter. It will have some idea to what has happened over the 1 week, because ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಓದುವಾಗ, first of all, cartoons can be drawn on any subject. It is not necessarily politics. I have drawn cartoons on dogs, on cats, on trees, on on the earth, on lots and lots of other things, not just politics. ಒಂದು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. It's like you take a bunch of students of cartoonists, who want to take. I've held workshops, so I know this. I give them a topic. Each cartoonist will come out with a different subject. So it is possible on the same topic to draw many different cartoons. Similarly, you can draw a cartoon on any subject. So newspaper is full of ideas, but whether it will be a good cartoon or not, I will know, and definitely my editor and the staff will know, and finally the readers will know. So the level at which I can say, okay, now today I'm happy with this cartoon that I've drawn. Sometimes the level could be I'm 70% happy with what I've drawn. I'm 80% happy. I'm 100% happy with this very cartoon. Or I am, oh gosh, today is a 50% day. In Marley, it's very difficult, but I have to send it because there's a deadline. I hope the editor says, no, I don't like this cartoon. So it happens, and that's how I work on a daily basis. In that aspect.
I mean, Vasuki, I think as a side note, Vasuki, it is so amazing that you're, for me at least, the learning is you're so humble that even somebody like you can accept to say, okay, today it's fine, I'm human, I've not got a great idea, I'm letting it go. That's a big lesson for us. Ekandre, for me, like whenever I see or whenever we see your cartoon, it's like, how can this man think like this? Eshtu chanagi, eshtu clear agi yochane madidare anta. But to understand behind, andre nimigu ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ idea ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು, it's a great lesson actually for us. Thank you so much, Nana.
Sorry to interrupt, but I must tell you that I'm only as good as the last cartoon that I've drawn. Alva. I'm only as
and
good.
Each of your last cartoons have been really good. So
thank you. But the thing is, I'm happy with 70-80%. I wish it could be 100%, all of them very good, but I cannot get to that level. It's impossible. And if I'm not humble, I'll be a fool. I don't want to wish to be a fool. I'm telling all this to you straight from my heart. So, that's what I thought this conversation should be like.
So ನಿಮ್ದು ಕ್ರಾಫ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ನನಗೆ ನಿಮ್ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಂಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದು, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಹಾಗೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಮಿನಿಮಲಿಸ್ಟ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈಗ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಈವನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ನೀವು ಜನರಲಿ ಯೆಲ್ಲೋ, ಮಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್, ಬ್ರೌನ್ ಅಷ್ಟಲ್ಲೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರ. ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಬ್ಲೀಕ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನಿಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಆಕ್ರೋಶ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಹಿಂಗ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ನಮ್ದೊಂದು ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಓಕೆ, ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ಹತ್ತುರಿತಾ ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದ್ರ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇದೊಂದು ಥರದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯೂ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅಂಡ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನಿಮ್ ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದೊಂಥರ ಒಂದು ಶೇಕಿ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಅರೈವ್ ಆದ್ರ? Like did you always figure it out the first time, athwa you slowly arrived at that style?
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊದಲು ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ನಿಮಗಿಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ, ನೀವು ನನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದುತ್ತೀರಿ. You understand it very well, which I'm very happy, because you look at it from different aspects, even my style and things like that, because it plays a very important part in a cartoonist's life. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ನಾನು ಡೆಲ್ಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಾಗ 75-76 ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬು ಇಬ್ರಾಹಿಮಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಫೋಲಿಯೋ ತೋರಿಸಿದೆ. ಅದು ಡೆಕ್ಕನ್ ಹೆರಲ್ಡ್ ನ ಎಡಿಟರ್, ಜೂನಿಯರ್ ಎಡಿಟರ್ ಡ್ರಾವ್ಡ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ಅದಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತ್ತದು. ನಾನು ಫೋಟೋಕಾಪಿ ಮಾಡಿ, ಈಗ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಕಾಪೀಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಇದುವರೆಗೆ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಮೇ ಬಿ ಸಮ್ ಡೇ ನಾನು ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತೇನೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡುವಾಗ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, in 86 ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲ 76 ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು 75-74 ನಲ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಈಗ ಮಾಡೋದು ಸ್ಟೈಲು ವೆರಿ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್. ಇನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಆಗ ಕಲರ್ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಕಲರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಆಗೆಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವೈಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಕಲರ್ ಒಂದು ಮಿಡ್ 80s, early end of 80s, 90s early ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನನ್ನ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕೇಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಡ್, ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಶೇಡಿಂಗ್, lot of crossworks, lot of depth, a lot of features, details ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾನು ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. Perhaps because you want to impress the readers with how very well you can draw. And believe me, to be a good cartoonist, you have to be able to draw exceptionally well. But that is the same thing. Over the years, then I said, why am I spending so much time? Yake ishtu, prayatna madi, ishtu compose madi, chennagi madi, what's the reason? Because after all, it is just something on a piece of paper, and they will forget about it. So why can't I simplify it? So I went back to my earlier process. So now I find it comes easily. A pressure illa nanage. I see some others, the younger cartoonists who put a lot of detail into it. It is easier for them now because our computer nalli ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. So button press ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, that sort of a thing. But still, it is the less is more, is what I finally understood now. ಈಗ ಆ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ yellow brown. Yellow brown, ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ, are warm colors. They're warm. They're not dull colors like sometimes blue can be very dull. You'll be surprised to know, how it's, if I put too much of red, you don't see so much of red in nature at all. So red should be used very carefully, that sort of a thing. This is certain tricks I learned in keeping to as natural as possible during architectural rendering, building design model. Keep it as natural as possible. So to add some depth to my cartoons, I use more of yellow. And yellow is very bright and it's a very cheerful color. So even though, like you said, the people, the faces that I draw are, sort of sad or morose or whatever, it lightens them up with the color of yellow. And I like to keep my lines simple and not complicate too much. I can spend one entire day to draw a cartoon, with all the details. It won't be easy for me to, get paid for the amount of effort that I put in, because years ago I did one cartoon on the dams, hydroelectric dams, and how villagers get cheated on it and things. A large one. I did it for Deccan Herald, and during that time I took a couple of days to draw it, and they gave me, I think it was in 86 or something, they gave me 75 rupees for it. And 75 rupees, I know the effort that I put into it was much more than, I'm sorry, I have to mention their names because I can't help it. I'm telling you from my heart what it was like for me. It's about me and my work. Some German some German publication saw this, and they sent word to say that, listen, can we use this? We will give you 4,000 rupees for that. And during that time, 4,000 rupees was a lot of money. So I gladly, accepted it. It's not an easy profession monetarily, but over the years, I have worked for it and it has improved. But anybody young trying to get into it, they should not go in the hope of saying that I'll make a lot of money. No. My advice for the youngsters is it will be a struggle and it's not going to be easy, especially now because of COVID. Salaries have been cut. I'm talking about economy of cartooning really now. Salaries have been cut and so many people have been let out. It's not easy at all. So be happy with what you get, where you get, and if you can even draw it and send it to whichever publication or whatever, that's the thing. And it's so difficult to see such. I've held workshops, like I said, for youngsters. Especially when I was in Bangalore, via Max Muller Bhavan, Alliance Française, Ali youngsters bartidru, all hopes of saying, oh, we want to be cartoonists, we want to be. Very few of them have made it. Almost nobody, none of them have made it. So I would jokingly tell them, take up art, take up painting, if you're good at drawing, because there you can do some color splash, this, that, and you don't have to have any serious ideas. You can still make a lot of money. Some of them have been doing that, and they've become pretty rich right now. So I like to ramble. I want to, my subject, it's like an idea. I put it in my head and, bring it all out.
Yeah.
Great. Now, one question.
That's exactly what it would.
Yeah. Nala, you were talking about training younger people and all those things, right? According to you, who are the young talents who have impressed you a lot, Nala?
Over the years.
Okay, 1 minute. I will make it very easy for you. Just give us 1 or 2 names on top of the mind so that the other younger ones perhaps don't get offended that you didn't mention their names.
That is exactly what I was trying to get at, because 2 of them, I like them very much. I like the works. I like the work of he's not young anymore, really, because he's been trying hard to get to be what he wants to be, a cartoonist. It's not easy. His name is Sunil Cotton. One can see it. One can see it in the internet. And the other is a girl called Ashwini Menon. She does interesting cartoons. These are I like them because their style is different. Their thought process is different. And it's the kind of cartoon that I like because it makes me think when I look at their works. It's not run-of-the-mill political stuff that one normally sees. But I do hope these, and there are many others, really. I hope they get opportunities to, shine on and shine on comfortably.
Nala, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್, ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು, ವಿಮೆನ್ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನಿಸ್ಟ್, ನೀವ್ ಒಂದ್ ಹೆಸರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ಈಗ, ಬಟ್ ಜನರಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ರೇರ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಗೆ?
I have no idea. ನನಗೆ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಸಿಕ್ಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. I'm sure there's a lot of talent. ನನ್ನ ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ young ಹುಡುಗಿರು ಬರ್ತಿದ್ರು, and some of them are desperate, some of them are good, and some of them are not so good. But it is not easy for to say why. In the profession as we see it, they don't. Maybe they stop. Maybe they have gone on to aspects like advertising, where you can draw some cartoons and make some money. Advertising companies, that I mean, because some of them use it, or they've just given up and said no. Karnataka, we had Maya Kamath. She was good. But unfortunately, she passed away. And there were a few others. I vaguely remember All India also, but I really don't know. Even abroad, most of the cartoonists have been men. There are some exceptional women doing works. I've been to places in Germany, Japan, France, and UK and other places where I've seen some of their work. They're absolutely amazing. Brazil, South America, Mexico, Iran, the Iranian women who have done some brilliant work, absolutely fabulous. We never get to see them. We only get to see, basically here, only Indian cartoonists. Or if you're lucky, you'll get to see some cartoonists from abroad. I wish there was some channel which could open everything out, and a newspaper to show what the world is full of. Russian cartoonists, Swedish, Indonesian cartoonists, Australian cartoonists, African cartoonists, people from Nigeria, people from South Africa, Tanzania, Egyptian works. They're superb. Only in cartoon competitions when we take part, and I have stopped taking part in because it's very tedious. We don't get to see them. But I wish the Indians would have a. It's not like, I'm not saying that bring a few of them and put it in a room and show an exhibition or something like that. They should be more accessible, and nothing is as accessible as the internet these days. Women, I don't know. I wish there were more of them, cartoonists. I have no idea.
Nala, iga andre let's try and catch up on something lighter. ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಡಿಟರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಸಾರಿ ಕೇಳಿಸಿದ್ರಿ. Any other incidents that comes to you where a politician called you up or ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಥವಾ anything funny has happened ಆ ತರ? Any incidents that you...
Yeah. When I was in Bangalore, there used to be politicians. We used to get together sometimes, and they would meet at some duo or some party or whatever, and they would come up to me and say that we like this cartoon, chennagittu. But I never pushed myself to get close to any of them for the simple reason that I will not be true to my profession. ಮತ್ತೆ ಜನರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇವನು ಈ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಷಿಯನ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಆ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಷಿಯನ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ, that sort of thing. Recently ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಮುಕುಂದ್, ನನ್ನ ವಿಕಿಪೀಡಿಯಾ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಇದೆ ನನ್ನ ವಿಷಯ. Years ago it had been written, years ago, and then I just happened to, a friend of mine happened to tell me that a cousin of my nephew of mine to say, uncle nodi ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಿಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ವಿಕಿಪೀಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಿಷಯ ಯಾರೋ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. It's just very small piece. I've got it revised now. Ponnappa admits that he's being paid for by the Congress party. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous, So I got some friends of mine to just remove that, change it completely. And I won't be surprised if Puna barte adu. What do you call them? Troll mandalike bartare. So politicians sometimes, like, I prefer to keep a distance. I keep a very low profile now. The only interaction I have with people is through the net with my followers. So
internet lo nimge backlash baruttalla, so does that result in kind of self censorship that okay idr bagge bariyad beda because last few times it was ugly?
Yeah, it happens. Like sometime back I did something years ago, not years ago, about 4 years back or something. I did something on an innocuous cartoon. There was nothing serious about it, but the subject matter was Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And I got a backlash from people from Bengal who are obviously, fans of his, must be, with INS Indian, whatever, the Indian Army of that Subhash Chandra Bose's thing. And, I apologize. I said, this is not the way that I have, you should look at this cartoon because it is wrong. It was wrong on their part to, twist it around and tell me this is what happened. So after that, I stopped delving into such cartoons at all. There's no point. Why should I upset people with, if they're our fans agidre irli, nanu I don't touch on the subject. And so many times I also get to say that you're only drawing cartoons against BJP. Then I point out the cartoon only against Hindus. You show them in this manner, that manner. So I tell them that, listen, if you go through the cartoons that I've done, so occasionally I would put up something that I've done on some Muslims, on something that I didn't like. I mean, there is a certain aspect of Islam I don't like. There is a certain aspect of Hinduism I don't like. I have every right to comment on it. I'm not hitting out at anybody, on this. I'm being very honest about it. But they always subject to say that this is the way you have, you think. That's why perhaps they said, Congress party, you're getting paid by the Congress party, that sort of a thing. It's silly. So there are times when I wish I could just draw on dogs and trees and cats and, forget about politics completely, because the kind of politics that is happening in this country is unbelievable. See what's happening even in Karnataka. What all these politicians do, not just in the other states. It is disgusting. I'll be honest with you. It is, it's not, young children should not be shown all these things in the newspapers and things. And it's crazy. But like I say, I like my profession. Otherwise, I wouldn't have chosen this. And I continue to draw. But I really wish, we don't give so much importance to politics. Let us give importance to so many other aspects of life, which are far more, humorous. We should do that. We give too much importance to our politicians, sadly.
That's why, sir, we don't talk much about politics in Arlikate, because ಎಲ್ಲರೂ politics ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ.
ಹೌದು. Good. I'm glad.
ನಳ, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಯುವಕರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರಿ, ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರಿ. ಈಗ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕೋರ್ಸ್ಗಳಿದೆಯಾ? ನೀವು ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಹೇಳಿದೀರಾ, ಬಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಥವಾ ನೀವೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ? ಕೆನ್ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಟ್?
Yeah. I have to go a little back. In 20 odd years ago, I used to take part in cartoon competitions. So I got one the prize ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತು ನನಗೆ ಜಪಾನಿನಿಂದ. ಅವರು ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನನ್ನನ್ನು, ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ವೈಫನ್ನು. ನಾವಿಬ್ಬರು ಹೋದೆವು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. This is also a professor who teaches cartooning in a university. There's a course in Kyoto. And they took us around and they made us speak. Not just me, there were 4 or 5 other cartoonists from different countries who were also invited, who were prize winners. So we went around, and it is a university degree that they give. They were mostly Japanese students and some from Korea, because they're neighboring countries. It's a 4-year course, and they ella teach ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. How, like in a workshop, what I basically give them the technical and the ideas of how to fish them out from your mind. They stretch it over 4 years and give them a degree after that. And they come out with wonderful cartoons, books, illustrations. They get various aspects to display their prowess. ಒಂದು 1 year ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರು ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. Can you come and teach ಅಂತ? But I said, thank you very much. I'm happy with my work here. And if I move away from India for a couple of years, to get back to cartooning in India again would not be easy. I would rather stay here and continue the work. So there are universities. India dalli ideo anta nanage gottilla.
Okay.
And I have no idea.
ಈಗ ಒಂದು
sorry, I have to get to 1 second, Mukund. I have to tell you one thing. You can teach ಒಂದು cartooning student ಗೆ, you can teach them all the technical side of it. Why are they whether they do it paper ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಾ, ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಾ, ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗು, ಪೆನ್ನು, ಪೆನ್ಸಿಲು, ಫೋಟೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಾ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಓಕೆ. ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಟೀಚ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಸೈಡ್ ಟೀಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ it's going to be very, very difficult. They have to have it in them. They have to have it to say that ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಯಸ್ಸಿಂದಲೇ ನನಗೆ I need this ambition. It's a burning ambition to be a cartoonist, whatever happens. ಅದು ಇರಬೇಕು ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್.
ಈಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಲ್ಬರ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಕಾಟ್ ಆಡಮ್ಸ್ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ, ದ ಗೈ ಹೂ ಡ್ರಾಸ್ ಡಿಲ್ಬರ್ಟ್, ಅವರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನಿಸ್ಟ್ ತನ್ನ ಜಗತ್ತನ್ನ ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅವನು ಸ್ಕಾಟ್ ಆಡಮ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಹಿ ಕಾಲ್ಸ್ ಹಿಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ somebody who is in the art of oversimplification ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಜಗತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಯುವಂತಹ ವಿಷಯಗಳು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬರೀಬಹುದು, ಆದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಅದೇ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈಡು ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನಿಸ್ಟ್ ನೀವು ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಕಥೆ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನ ನೀವು ರಿಡಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಉಳಿದಿರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, ಅದನ್ನ ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಇಟ್? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅವೇರ್, ರೈಟ್? ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ ಇಟ್?
It's not easy. It's like ಮೊದಲು ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ಈ ಜಯಲಲಿತಾ ವಿಷಯ ಆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ, ನಾಳೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಈಸಿ. ಒಮ್ಮೊಮ್ಮೆ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಈಗ ನಾಳೆ ಒಂದು ಇವೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. I don't know if it is connected with what you're saying, but this is what I get in my mind. ನಾಳೆ ಒಂದು ಇವೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್. ಸೊ ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಸೈಡ್ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ವಿನ್ಸ್. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸೈಡ್ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, if another person wins or if this person loses. ಆ ಎರಡನ್ನು ಎಡಿಟರ್ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಡಿಟರ್ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ಸ್, okay, this cartoon is fine for this. But that doesn't, I don't think that answers your question.
No, that doesn't answer my question, but it is
also. But you just get an, yeah, okay.
Andre ಈಗ ಒಂದು Vasuki, do you want to take a stab at it? Nange I think
yeah I think ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಇದು ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಓವರ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಟರ್ನ್ ಔಟ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅ ಗುಡ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ. ಬಟ್ ನೀವು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪರ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಯು ಮೇ ಫೀಲ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಜೋಕ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್, ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ನೋಡಿ ಈ ತರ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಿಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ 10 years ಡೌನ್ ದ ಲೈನ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಆ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ನ್ಯಾವಿಗೇಟ್ ದಟ್?
Okay, actually you have answered my question. You said there's a 10-year gap. 10 years aada mele I will definitely draw another cartoon depending on what the situation 10 years is in now, and I will definitely say, okay, the cartoon that I did 10 years ago was suitable for that time. No, I think the problem is in this question is it should have been something that has immediately happened 3 days later than if it changed, rather than ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ 10 ವರ್ಷ ಟೈಮ್ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಇರಬಾರದು. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ?
ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಒಂದು ಪಾಲಿಟಿಷಿಯನ್ ನ ಬೈದು ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ, 3-4 ದಿವಸ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಹೊಸ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ which will absolve that politician. ಆ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಷಿಯನ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಪುಟ್ ಹಿಮ್ ಇನ್ ಒನ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಟು ಯು ಬಿಫೋರ್? ಆ ತರದ್ದೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಆಗಿದ್ಯಾ? ಅಥವಾ ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಎಥಿಕಲಿ ಕಮ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್?
Okay, I get it now. Yeah, no, ಆ ತರ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ, and for the simple reason that I'll give you a recent example of what has happened. Again, this is to do with politics. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಮೋದಿ ಅವರು ಬಾಂಗ್ಲಾದೇಶ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ made sure that he was important. He was a part of the, I'm telling you exactly what's been happening. I have to bring politics into this by playing. Bangladesh war nalli he took part in the satyagraha that happened in India in 71, 72, and he was a youngster and he was sent to jail. And some others, congressmen, brought it out and said that this is totally wrong. Then now they have come out with an apology of what a gentleman called Shashi Tharoor has said, that it was a mistake. I didn't realize that he had praised Mrs. Indira Gandhi during the freedom of Bangladesh liberation war. And they've come out with little cuttings to say, newspaper cutting to say that 10,000 people in Delhi were sent to jail. So I would not draw a cartoon directly on that. If I draw anything, I will make it very obtuse and very confused so that I will not face, the experience I have, any backlash for it. I won't directly take a stab at it. You get what I mean? I won't take a stab at it. Let it take its own course, and then we'll see what the end is. The point that I'm trying to make here is, if I see a news item, I won't immediately hit on it, because I will wait for a day or two and then draw the cartoon, or not draw the cartoon at all, because I'm not sure of the subject. I'm not sure whether it is right or wrong. I'm not sure whether it is fake or not, because nowadays there's a lot of fake news happening also. I'll have to take that precaution myself, to restrain myself and then jump like many of the others into the cartoon.
Got it. Nala, just a couple of more questions and then we'll end it. Nala, iga Dilbert ಅಥವಾ ಗಾರ್ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪೀನಟ್ಸ್, ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ವಿನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹೋಬ್ಸ್, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕಾಮಿಕ್ಗಳು ಇದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜನರಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಬ್ರಾಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಫಾರಿನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಆ ಥರದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ? ನಳ ಜನ ಓದಲ್ವಾ? ಹೇಗೆ?
ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಮುಕುಂದ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ನಾನು ಮೊದಲು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ನಾವು. ಇನ್ ದ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ಸೇ ಅಬೌಟ್ 150-200 pages ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Sunday newspapers are, that thick, so heavy, so many, and they have comic sections for many pages. Nammali on the half-page comic sections idre sari, ಆ half-page comics nallu ella foreign syndicated cartoonist strips irutte ಮೊದಲಿನಿಂದಲೇ. ಈಗ in between, some cartoonists, including myself, would draw cartoon strips, and they have been published over the years. I have done about 5 or 6 cartoon strips over the years. One was called Boone School for the Midday. For years I did it. One was called Raja of Ouch. I don't know if you remember all these in the Deccan Herald. And I did one called Doddanimappa for Times of India.
Doddanimappa, I remember that very well.
You remember that? Okay, yeah. And I did some for the Indian Express and few others. I've done for the Sunday magazine, the Calcutta Sunday magazine, and lots of others. But what has happened over the years is, like I said, advertising has taken over the space, and the regular size of cartoons that people draw has gone less and less and limited. So we don't have the syndication power of what the Western cartoonists do, because they can sell the same cartoon that a cartoonist has drawn to 2,000 newspapers across the world and earn a lot of money, not just for themselves, for the cartoonists also. But here in India, it's so difficult. We don't have too many publications.
Okay, got it. Nala, what do you think of memes? Memes ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. What do you think of them as a cartoonist? Do you enjoy them? Memes ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟನಾ?
I was never interested in memes because I think it's an easy way of saying that, we can make people laugh. But there are some which do make me laugh. But to me, it's mostly, a meme tells me it's a photograph with one set of words on top and one set of words below. That to me is ideally what I understand as a meme. I may be wrong. Or it could be something like the other things that they say, a GIF, a GIF. which moves around. A GIF, sorry, I beg your pardon. A GIF that, it moves around and says something, and, that. I think these are gimmicks. A meme is closer, perhaps, to a cartoon than a GIF is.
Yeah.
A GIF is a communicator. A meme communicates something, perhaps. But I still think it is an easy way out. It's like somebody drawing stick figures, Stick figures anybody can draw. And put some words. The words are very important in a cartoon, especially in a cartoon strip. And if it is just a strip person, it's so easy. You put one circle, 2 dots, anyone can do that. And that's an easy way to do a cartoon. But I think you need a little more than that. It takes a while to understand or appreciate these things.
Nala, one last question. Your advice for ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲ, ಯುವಕರಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಂದೇಶ ಏನು? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ನೋಡಿ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋರಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋರಿಗೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯುವಕರು ಅವ್ರ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಸಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ದೇರ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಟು ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಬಿ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡೆ ಕೋಪ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯುವಕರು ಒಂದೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಂಕಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೋಪ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆನೂ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಒಂಥರ ಕೋಪ ಇದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಕೋಪಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಅಡ್ವೈಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಡು ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಅಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಅಡ್ವೈಸ್?
The only advice ನಾನು ಕೊಡಬಹುದು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, don't attach yourself to that anger. It's not worth it. Newspaper magazines ಎಲ್ಲ ಓದಿದರೂ ಕೋಪ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಓದಿದರು all kind of emotions ಬರುತ್ತೆ, happiness, sadness, and feeling of that sort of a thing. But I just feel that just take it easy, get on with your life, and don't complicate matters. And if you want to be a cartoonist, make sure that you work hard for it, and I hope you don't get too much of flack. And take it easy. What else can I say?
Yeah, thanks. Hey Nala, it's been such a pleasure. ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯ್ತು ನಿಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ನಾನು ವಾಸುಕಿ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, that we've seen your cartoons, ನಿಮ್ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. And thanks to you, ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು we have spent almost, it's almost our longest podcast ever. We've spent around 2
good
hours.
Lord.
2 hours.
It's 9:20. I just
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for calling me
Thanks so
across.
much,
And ನನಗೂ ಬಹಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯ್ತು. ನೀವು ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ questions ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, and I hope your readers will appreciate what little I have said.
Oh, surely.
Thank you.
ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ ಮತ್ತು ಶ್ರೋತೃಗಳೇ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಅರ್ಲಿಕಟ್ಟೆ ಎಪಿಸೋಡ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ವಿವ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಕಾರ್ಟೂನಿಸ್ಟ್ ನಳ ವಿತ್ ಅಸ್. ಇವತ್ತು ನಳ ನಮ್ ಜೊತೆ 2 hours ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಅರ್ಲಿಕಟ್ಟೆನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಸ ಎಪಿಸೋಡ್ಸ್ ನ ನೋಡಿ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಲೈಕ್, ಶೇರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್. ನಳ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಯು ಬೀನ್ ಆಸಮ್.
Wonderful.
Once more, thank you.
All the very best to you and the readers, and the viewers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.